I was supposed to be away for another 3 days, but my plans changed and I decided to drive home early. I had no idea someone else had already made themselves comfortable inside my house. The moment I pulled into my driveway, something felt wrong. There were more vehicles around my property than I remembered. I immediately started wondering who had been coming and going. I looked at the front door and noticed something that bothered me. The welcome mat wasn't where I had left it. Even the porch furniture looked slightly different. I unlocked the front door and stepped inside. The house smelled different, like someone had been cooking regularly. Then I noticed shoes that definitely weren't mine near the hallway. I walked deeper into the house and started noticing more signs. There were toiletries in the guest bathroom and groceries in the refrigerator. Someone hadn't just visited my house. They had been living here. Then I opened the guest bedroom door. A suitcase was sitting beside the bed. There were clothes hanging inside the closet that I had never seen before. The bathroom made things even stranger. There were cosmetics, hair products, and personal items everywhere. Whoever was staying here wasn't planning a one-night visit. I walked into the kitchen and opened the refrigerator. Almost everything inside had been replaced with food I never bought. That was when I realized someone had completely settled into my home. Then I heard footsteps upstairs. A woman's voice called out from the hallway. I recognized that voice immediately. It was the HOA president. Karen walked down the stairs and froze when she saw me. She looked completely stunned. For several seconds, neither of us said a word. I finally broke the silence. I asked Karen one simple question. "What are you doing in my house?" Her confident attitude disappeared instantly. Karen immediately started talking about the HOA. She claimed she had rights because the house was part of her community. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I looked toward the kitchen counter and noticed a second set of keys. They weren't mine. Karen had apparently been using copies to come and go whenever she wanted. I started checking the rooms more carefully. Karen's clothes, bags, cosmetics, and personal belongings were everywhere. She hadn't simply entered my house. She had moved into it. Then I opened a storage room I rarely used. Inside were several boxes with Karen's name on them. She had been storing personal property in my house without my permission. Karen suddenly became defensive. She claimed she had been helping maintain the property while I was away. But nothing about her story explained why her belongings were filling multiple rooms. I went to my home office and pulled out my property records. The documents clearly showed that I was the homeowner. There was nothing giving the HOA permission to occupy my house. Then I checked the security cameras. The footage showed Karen enter my house while I was away. Now I had proof instead of just suspicion. The footage showed her coming and going repeatedly. She wasn't there for an inspection. She had been treating my home like her own private residence. I decided not to argue with her anymore. I documented everything and contacted the appropriate authorities for assistance. Karen suddenly realized this was no longer an HOA argument. The moment Karen realized I had security footage, her attitude changed. She started gathering her belongings. The confidence she'd shown earlier was completely gone. Suitcases appeared in the hallway. Boxes were being carried toward the front door. Suddenly, Karen wanted to leave as quickly as possible. Karen finally walked out of my front door with her belongings. She avoided eye contact as she crossed the driveway. For the first time since I came home, the house felt like mine again. The story didn't end when Karen left. The HOA board had to answer some serious questions. I brought the security footage and documentation to the meeting. The security footage played on the large screen. Everyone watched Karen enter my home while I was away. The room became completely silent. The board members finally understood what had happened. This wasn't an HOA rule dispute. Karen had crossed a personal property boundary that she had no right to cross. Everything was documented formally. The board acknowledged that my home was my private property. Karen could no longer pretend that HOA authority gave her unlimited access. When I got home, I replaced every exterior lock. I also updated the security system and checked every camera. This time, I wasn't taking anything for granted. That evening, I stood in my living room and looked around. The strange belongings were gone. The house was quiet, secure, and finally felt like home again. Karen thought being part of the HOA gave her the right to live inside my house. She learned the hard way that community rules don't erase private property boundaries. If you enjoyed this story, like and subscribe. And tell me, where are you watching from?